Good morning, everyone. On this glorious, glorious day, I'm Pat Halpin Murphy, the president and founder of the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition. And we are just thrilled and overwhelmed by the support that our state representatives, our state senators, and the executive departments are exhibiting here. And when I say we're overwhelmed, we are. And I hope that we have everyone's name. If not, signal Jen, she will give it to me, and I will have everybody properly introduced. Okay, these are not in any particular order. Oh, I see we just got a mascot that just came. Okay. I'd like to thank the following officials who have recognized the importance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and have recognized that turning the fountain pink is really a symbol for us. It is a reminder that we must get our yearly mammograms, that early detection is the best weapon that we have. It's also a recognition of all of the women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer in Pennsylvania, and it's 37 women each day. And it's also a remembrance for those of our sisters that we have lost to this deadly disease. But Pennsylvania is fortunate in this sense that in this state, anyone who is insured under Pennsylvania law is covered for free mammograms. And that includes 3D mammograms, which are the latest and the greatest. 3D, yay! Three-dimensional mammograms are 20% better at recognizing a tumor and identifying it early so that it is easier to treat and the treatments are less invasive. And 3D mammograms are free in this state because last year Governor Wolf recognized that they are 1, mammograms, 2, better than 2D mammograms, and 3 are covered under existing Pennsylvania law. So now everyone insured under this state law has the right to a 3D mammogram at no cost to the women. And I have to clap for that. It's a miracle. And we're the first state in the nation to do that, the first state in the nation. Others are following, but Pennsylvania was the first state in the nation to cover the cost of 3D mammogram at no charge to the woman. For those who are uninsured or underinsured, Pennsylvania also has the Healthy Women Program, which provides free mammograms, including 3D mammograms, for those women who are uninsured or underinsured. So in this state, there is no reason, there's no financial reason not to get that yearly mammogram. And the earlier it's detected, the more likely you are to be treated and survive. So we're very fortunate in this state to have that in place. And I salute all of the legislators here who have supported that. And I'd like to recognize them now. We have Senator Camara Barata, Senator Thomas McGargle, Representative Matt Baker, who will be speaking shortly, Representative Becky Corbin, Representative Paul Costa, Representative Madeline Dean, Representative Pam DeLisio, who will also be speaking, Representative Sue Helms, also a survivor, Representative Craig Statz, Representative Martina White, Representative Karen Phillips, Representative Tina Pickett, Representative Cheryl Delosier, Representative Rosemary Barr, Representative Pam Snyder, Representative Maureen. Help me with this, I can't read it in the sun. Mag, thank you. Stick with me. Representative Marge
Stevens.
Morgan Stevens, Representative Matthew Doling, Representative Mary Daly, of course, I know me. And also, we have Representative Ed Nielsen, an old colleague of mine, Representative Rosemary Barn,
You did those already.
okay, and
Carolyn
Representative Carolyn
Comida.
Committa, Representative Donna Bullock, Representative Stephen Davis, Representative Fitzgerald, Representative Carol Hill Ewing Evans, Representative
Oh, it's Senator Patrick Stefano.
Senator Patrick Stefano, Representative Marcia
Hahn,
Hahn, and Representative
Anita Kolick,
Anita Kolick.
and Representative Patty Kim.
Representative Patty Kim, I know from Harrisburg. And we also have Deputy Secretary of Health, Dr. Robinson, and her colleague, Dr. Fatima, from the Department of Health Healthy Women program that we just spoke of before, that provides free mammograms for uninsured or underinsured women. So let's salute all of these wonderful folks and thank them, thank them, thank them. Yes. Thank you all. I know that they all have committee meetings and other work to do. Some of them may be able to stay for a few minutes, but I want to really say how much we appreciate your coming and your support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, that was really quite a wonderful, wonderful turnout, and I'm just thrilled and delighted with that participation. Okay. Now, we've had tremendous support from the legislature, and there is no one legislator that I could say that has been more critical to the needs of cancer patients, not only breast cancer, but all across the spectrum, than the next person that I'm going to introduce. Representative Matt Baker is the chair of the Health Committee. He has his leadership and hard work and persistence got covered for oral chemotherapy. I said that twice because it really was an extraordinary accomplishment. And what is oral chemotherapy? Many of you have been treated by in-hospital treatments where you're injected with the chemotherapy. The newer treatments are oral pills, especially in breast cancer. And for a while, they were not covered on the same basis as intravenous chemotherapy. And it took years, but Representative Matt Baker got that passed, and it's a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment. Additionally, he was key in getting the dense breast legislation through the House, and he did it in record time. And it was so very important because it had passed the Senate. We had a governor who said he would sign it, and the challenge was to get it through the House. And thanks to the leadership of Representative Matt Baker, we were able to do that. And why is it important? Because women with dense breasts have a harder time having that detected by mammograms. And what that legislation did is it said to the hospitals and the mammography centers that if women had dense breasts, you had to tell them. So about 4 years ago, for the first time, women began getting letters saying, you have dense breasts and more information about it. Before that, women didn't know whether or not that was the case in their instance. So let us welcome Chairman of the House Health Committee, Representative Matt Baker. Matt? Thank you, dear.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. Thank you very much, Pat, for inviting me back to the podium. It's always an honor to share the podium with the founder of the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition. You've done an outstanding job and continue to do so, and I value your friendship immensely. Thank you, Pat. Every woman who conquers breast cancer has an amazing story to share of their journey. The one common thread in every story is that early detection saves lives. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's hard to forget with pink ribbons, ties, and professional athletes wearing pink. The statistics bear repeating. Every day, 37 women are diagnosed with breast cancer, and another 13,000 in Pennsylvania will die this year from breast cancer. Breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in women and is the second leading cause of cancer death among women. Each year, more than 246,660 women and 40,000 men will be diagnosed with breast cancer in the nation. One statistic that is trending in a very positive direction is the number of people, 2.8 million, who are breast cancer survivors. They are living full lives after having been diagnosed. Yes. Pennsylvania is making strides in the continued effort to support those who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. The Breast Density Notification Act that Pat just mentioned requires mammography providers to notify women categorized as having dense breast tissue about their condition. Knowledge is power, and this law has improved detection and prevention by educating patients about dense breast tissue and how it could conceal possible abnormalities during mammographic procedures. Three-dimensional mammograms were approved by the FDA about 6 years ago. Pennsylvania followed up a year or so ago by becoming the first state to require insurers to cover all screening of mammograms, including the 3D versions, at no out-of-pocket costs to consumers. That is amazing. In July, a year ago, Pennsylvania became the 42nd state to provide patients equal access to anti-cancer treatments that Pat also mentioned, called the enactment of oral chemotherapy legislation. It was Act 73 of 2016, and I know one of our speakers has supported that and came to our press conference and pushed that. And you know, there is such a thing as bipartisan work here in this Capitol from time to time, and we do work across the aisle together for a common cause that is hopeful to all women and men suffering from cancer. I was proud to author that legislation, and this session, Pat, I've authored a couple of new bills that you have been very, very supportive of as well. House Bill 1309, the Clean Indoor Air Act. We hope to have a vote on that within the next month or so. Secondhand smoke is killing people, and we need to address that issue as expeditiously as possible. Another bill we're working on, it already passed the House, it's over in the Senate, and it's House Bill 1280. It's stage 4 cancer treatment called Fair Access to Cancer Treatment. And instead of failing first, which is sometimes the policy of insurers to make stage 4 cancer patients go through and fail that treatment before they get the appropriate treatment, this would permit going directly on the oncologist's advice to get the treatment that they deserve and time is of the essence. Waiting, going through 6 months or 9 months or whatever, and failing all the other protocols, they don't have that time, stage 4 cancer patients. So this legislation, it's in the Senate now, it passed unanimously in the House. We hope to get that legislation passed as well in the Senate, and I really appreciate your ongoing support for both of those pieces of legislation. Finally, the measures will help in saving lives and make treatment of breast cancer more tolerable and successful. The end goal, obviously, is to eradicate this disease, and continued support of innovative and high-impact research will someday, hopefully, lead to a cure. Thank you again, and I appreciate being invited, Pat.
The legislation that Representative Baker spoke about is very important, and anyone who's been with a stage 4 or with people who are stage 4 know that they need to get to the best treatment first and not have to wait and stand in line. And Representative Baker has recognized that and is doing something about that, and we salute you. We salute you, Matt. Okay. Now, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is special to survivors. It's an affirmation that we're still here. It gives us hope, and that's one of the purposes of turning this fountain pink, as a reminder and as a beacon of hope for the survivors and their families. And if you're around the Capitol all week, and however long it's open for the month of October, I believe, you'll see that people come at all times of the day and night to get pictures taken with their families, with their kids, because they recognize it as a reminder of hope. So survivors are very, very important when they speak out. They're important when they don't speak out. Survivors are important because it's these survivors who have stood up and said, we need to do something about breast cancer. And that's why we actually have free treatment for breast cancer in this state, because survivors have stood up and said, we need it, we've got to have it. It's because survivors are willing to do that in this state that we are able to get the things that breast cancer patients and survivors need. There's a photo exhibit up in the rotunda of the Capitol called 67 Women, 67 Counties Facing Breast Cancer in Pennsylvania. It is our exhibit, Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition. We started it really many years ago because at that time, believe it or not, most people who had breast cancer were not acknowledging it. It's a private decision. Whichever decision they make is fine. But the more women who do acknowledge it, the more we see how widespread it is, and the more that we can do those things that need to be done. So I ask all of you, as you're leaving today, to go through the rotunda of the Capitol, tell your friends. It's a wonderful exhibit of women telling their stories, women who have survived. And we're thrilled about that. We started it about 20 years ago, and I thought we would take it around to the four corners of the state, and then I'd pack it up and put it in my basement. And we still have communities lined up who want the exhibit. And so we're still taking it around Pennsylvania to acknowledge survivors. And speaking with us today is a very, very important survivor, a state representative who has gone through her treatment. She has been public about her diagnosis. And last year, and I really salute you for this, Pam, you brought together members of the House and the Senate, and particularly the women members, to recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month and turning the fountain pink. And because of the example that you started last year. You saw how many came this year. We were utterly overwhelmed. We never expected that. And it's because you broke that ground. Let us welcome Representative Pam D'Alessio, a breast cancer survivor. Pam? That's why they were here, because of you, dear.
Good morning. In May of 2016, I joined the Sisterhood. I had not applied for membership, but was warmly embraced upon arrival. And by sisterhood, I mean that large group of women who are indeed have been diagnosed with breast cancer. Our goal clearly needs to be prevention, and short of that, early detection and access to care for treatment are imperative. And very grateful for the work of the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition, the work that Pat and her staff do to educate the women of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and to ensure that, short of prevention, which of course we're working very hard on through research, etc., that people are getting their mammograms, ensuring the earliest possible detection, and then access to care and treatment. I am thrilled to stand here today, a year later, to share with you that my treatment was recently finished this past August, was successful, and I am now cancer-free. Thank you is hardly adequate to my family, my friends, my colleagues here in the Capitol, and the staff for their support, their friendship, their prayers, and their love over the past 16 months as I have made this journey. So I am very pleased to be here today, and thank you for your continued support to those women who have yet and will walk this path. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam, and that is indeed good news. Also like to talk about something special that you may not have seen yet. And I'd like to ask Representative Sue Helm, who is also a breast cancer survivor, to come forward if she's able. She may have had to leave. Pam, may I ask you to come forward? That is awesome. A panel. I guess I have to. This is a panel from our new panel from our photo exhibit, which you will see in the rotunda, focusing on Representative Pam D'Alessio and Representative Sue Helm, two breast cancer survivors from the Pennsylvania legislature. And here's a picture of all of the women legislators that Pam got out to the photo exhibit last year and had their picture taken, and that's part of the photo exhibit. So we're giving you this as a memento, and we have one for Sue as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, should we take a picture of this? You have a picture? Okay, all right. Thank you. We'll wrap this up and give it to you. Thank you. Our next speaker is the insurance commissioner for the state of Pennsylvania. And she is a terrific person that I first met just about 2 years ago when 3D mammograms were just becoming common and known. And we were thrilled because we knew that 3D mammograms are better than any other kind of mammogram. However, we found out that women were being charged in this state for those 3D mammograms. Some from $50 in the West to $600 in the East, and everything in between. And we took this issue to the insurance commissioner, who at the time was Teresa Miller, and of course her deputy was Jessica Altman. And we pointed out that in Pennsylvania, there's legislation since the 90s, and the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition got that legislation through that required insurers to pay for the cost of mammograms starting at age 40. So we thought that 3D mammograms should be included. And so we took that issue to the insurance commissioner, and I'm going to let her tell you how it proceeded from there. She's also been a fighter on the issue of no surprise balance payments. And she's going to talk a little bit more about that. And that's important to people with cancer and anybody who's in the hospital. People are being surprised with bills that they didn't expect. She is truly a Wonder Woman. Let us recognize Jessica Altman. Jessica. I know you. It's not okay.
Thank you. On behalf of Governor Wolf and his administration, I want to thank the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition very much for inviting me to be a part of this important recognition of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The work this coalition does in terms of education about this disease and support for women who are fighting it and our survivors is tremendous. But while great strides have been made, the fight continues. 27 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every day in Pennsylvania. Every day, 5 of our mothers, daughters, sisters, wives, aunts, nieces, cousins, friends, and neighbors die from this disease in Pennsylvania. Early diagnosis is the key to successful treatment, and advances in medicine have made these diagnoses more likely. That's why Governor Wolf 2 years ago established as policy that in Pennsylvania, 3D mammograms must be covered the same as traditional mammograms and be provided annually at no cost to women. This newer technology can in some cases detect breast cancer earlier and allow life-saving treatment to begin sooner. Further, this administration has been fighting to preserve the important advances in consumer protections so many of us have because of the Affordable Care Act. One of those most critical consumer protections is access to preventive services at no cost to the consumer, including mammograms and other critical cancer screenings. We have indeed made advances in providing access to healthcare and made important preventive services more affordable. In fact, just last month, the U.S. Census Bureau reported that Pennsylvania's uninsured rate is at just 5.6%, by far the lowest it has ever been, and nearly half of what it was before the Affordable Care Act was enacted. These changes didn't just happen. They happened because of the dedication and determination of many of the men and women here today, and of men and women like you across our state and the nation. We are also fighting for new consumer protections, as Pat mentioned, like surprise balance billing that will protect consumers from out-of-pocket costs when they accidentally seek out-of-network care. And I'd like to thank Chairman Baker as well as Chairwoman Pickett here for sponsoring that really critical legislation. But we know the fight is not over. We must continue to battle for access to affordable care. And while the statistics continue to improve, the number I mentioned a few minutes ago are not good enough, because they aren't just statistics. Because of those 27 Pennsylvanian women each day who get the devastating news that they have breast cancer. Because of the 5 families that endure the death of a loved one from this disease every day. They aren't just numbers. They are people we know and love, people who have made our lives and our communities better, and people for whom we must continue to fight. I know the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition will continue that fight until those numbers and the people they represent reach 0. And I'm here to tell you today that Governor Wolf and I stand with you and will continue the fight alongside you for as long as it takes. Thank you.
I want to hear the story. I'm not really Wonder Woman's daughter, but I'll tell you. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Jessica. And we are going to be honoring Governor Wolf on Friday at our conference, which is going to be held here in Harrisburg. Because of your good work of informing him of this issue, Governor Wolf adopted a policy that made Pennsylvania the first state in the nation to cover 3D mammograms at no cost to the insured women. So I salute you for your help, Jessica, and I thank you for all that you do for women's health and other health in Pennsylvania. Thank you. Okay. With us today is one of our Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition board members, Peggy Grove. Peggy is a survivor. She's the most courageous survivor that I know. She's been tested in so many ways, and she has really been an inspiration to me and to many others because of her enormous energy and her choice to do everything she possibly can to help women who've been diagnosed with breast cancer, as well as everybody else she comes in contact with. And she's been particularly focused on the issue of lymphedema. So I thank you, Peggy. Thank you for that. And also with us today are two of our outstanding grassroots partners. You know the film Thelma and Louise? Well, they are Helen and Lorraine. Their names are so famous in the breast cancer for the Breast Cancer Coalition that we just call them Helen and Louise. So let us recognize them and thank them for all that they do. They're incredible fundraisers. Our last speaker today is Nancy Ryan. Many of you know her. You listen to her all the time. You know that she is a part of the an emergency coming on here. And thank you, Tina, for sponsoring that legislation. You hear her as part of the Nancy and Newman team on Bob 94.7. And so you may know her in that capacity. And you may know her because the community aid fund that she has been helping with and publicizing for many years. But what you may not know is that she's a breast cancer survivor. And she's been out front about it, and that makes a huge difference to us and to your listeners. She has taken the lead in an effort called the Boatload of Bras. And we're collecting bras from all across the Commonwealth. Every kind of bra imaginable. And then they are put to good use for women who need them. And the Boatload of Bras, well, she'll tell you more about it, but it's become one of the most enjoyable and fun fundraisers that we have. Let us recognize Nancy Ryan, breast cancer survivor and radio personality extraordinaire. Nancy? Hello, dear.
So I will keep it short and sweet. I'm the loud one here. But it's fluffy and it's fun, and the guys that I work with shaved their head for me in 2011 when I lost my hair and thought that was the worst thing ever. And I found out that it wasn't. Raising money and being a part of the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition, they took it to a completely new level for us. We were having some fun. We went to raise money. Community Aid got on board. And for every bra that is donated, they're going to give $1 to the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition. And last year, we gave them a check for $10,000. So it can be done. Pretty bras, whatever kind of bra you have, sports bras, they're great. But it's a little bit of fun in a disease that it's horrific. But it can be managed, and we support each other. And you guys, you support your sisters, your wives, everybody that is affected by it. So just be a good friend and give somebody your hand or a hug, because that's really all they need. And we need your bras. So the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition has all the information on their website. We have it on our Bob 94.9 website. So thank you very much for being here. I'm so proud to be here in front of this beautiful fountain to have to talk over. So thank you guys very much for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Last year at our conference, which was around the same time, we had one of our grassroots partners who came. She had a lovely, sort of black outfit on, but she was stunning in another way. on top of her black outfit, she had on a pink lace push-up bra. She decided to go public with boatload of bras, and that was the bra that she was donating, and she wanted us to see what it looked like. So that was a lot of fun at our pink party. And that reminds me that the night before our conference, Thursday night, October 5th, we're having a pink party at the Hilton for breast cancer survivors, and it's free. It's a lot of fun, and we invite you to come. And the next day, of course, is our conference. There's still time to register, and there are also scholarships available, and we'll be thrilled to have you attend. We see our mascot from Isaac's back there. Isaac's does a special promotion at all their restaurants, and they give a certain portion of their menu, special pink menu, to the coalition, and we certainly appreciate that. I thank the incredible staff of the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition. They're just a gift to us, a gift to me, a gift to all Pennsylvanians, and thank you all, each of you, so very much. Okay. Turning this fountain pink is not just an event that's beautiful and fun and a good time. It's also a way to say that breast cancer is serious, that we must do everything we can to make sure that women are detected early, treatment is appropriate, and they're not bankrupted in the process. But it also reminds us of the goal of the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition, which is to find a cure for breast cancer now so that our daughters don't have to. Would you all join me in that? To find a cure for breast cancer when? Now, so that our daughters don't have to. Thank you all so very much for being here, and thanks the Harvest Susquehanna Restaurant for providing desserts. Thank you again. Thank you all.